the queen who chose a broken man over a golden crown. Imagine giving up every jewel, every silk gown, every soft bed you have ever known for a man who owns nothing but a kind heart. This is exactly what happened in a kingdom that once glittered with gold, ruled by a king the world still remembers. Long ago, in a vast and flourishing kingdom, there lived a wise and beloved ruler named King Alaric. His people adored him, for he ruled with fairness and a deep sense of justice. Under his crown, the land flourished, fields were full, markets were busy, and peace touched every corner of the realm. But the true treasure of King Alaric's life was not his gold or his throne. It was his only daughter, a young woman named Princess Isolde. Isolde had just turned 19, and she was spoken of throughout the kingdom, not merely for her striking beauty, but for the warmth of her spirit and the sharpness of her mind. She could not walk past suffering without stopping to ease it. Though she lived inside a palace of marble floors and golden ceilings, she often slipped away from the comfort of her chambers to walk among the ordinary people. She sat beside the sick. She fed the hungry. She listened to those the world had stopped listening to. Wealth never moved her heart the way another person's smile did. Deep down, Isolde carried a quiet wish. She did not dream of a prince covered in medals or a duke with a mountain of gold. She dreamed of a love that saw her, not the crown on her head, but the woman underneath it. One quiet afternoon, Isolde wrapped herself in a plain woolen cloak, pulled a soft veil over her face, and walked into the city completely unrecognized. As she moved through the noisy, crowded marketplace, her eyes fell on an old man sitting alone by the roadside. His clothes were torn and faded, his shoulders bent from exhaustion. Yet beneath his tired eyes, there was something unshaken, a strange, quiet peace that pulled her closer. Something about him made her stop. She lowered herself beside him and greeted him gently. "Good sir," she said with a soft smile, "why do you sit here so alone?" The old man, whose name was Tobias, lifted his head in surprise. No one had spoken to him with such warmth in longer than he could remember. "I sit here because I have nowhere else to go," he admitted. "I own nothing now but my own thoughts. Each day, I only hope someone will pause, even for a moment, so I don't feel so forgotten." His words struck something deep inside Isolde. Though he had lost everything material, his eyes still held wisdom money could never buy. Without hesitation, she pulled bread and a flask of water from her bag and placed them gently in his hands. "Please, take this," she said. "It isn't much, but I hope it helps." Tobias's eyes glistened as he looked at her. "Thank you, kind lady. You have given me far more than food today. You've given me hope. I never imagined someone like you would stop for someone like me." From that day forward, Isolde returned to see him every single day. She brought him meals, clean clothes, sometimes a few coins, but more than anything, she brought her time. They spoke for hours about life, about love, about the dreams that never quite fade. Slowly, Tobias opened up about his past. He had once been a prosperous merchant, until a chain of cruel misfortunes stripped him of everything he owned. Yet somehow, bitterness never took root in him. He stayed gentle. He stayed generous, even with nothing left to give but kindness itself. As the weeks passed, something unexpected bloomed inside Isolde's heart, a bond she could no longer deny. She admired Tobias's quiet wisdom, his patient kindness, the way he cared for people instead of possessions. He was nothing like the wealthy men who filled her father's court, men who measured love in land and titles. Tobias's heart was simply, purely good, and slowly, without meaning to, Isolde fell in love with him. But a painful truth sat heavy in her chest. She was a princess, and he was an aging man with nothing to his name. She knew, without a doubt, that her father would never approve. King Alaric had always imagined his daughter marrying a prince, a duke, someone who could match her in status and riches, never a forgotten man from the marketplace. After many sleepless nights, Isolde chose to be honest. She returned to the palace, her heart pounding, and stood before her father. "Father," she said, her voice trembling, "there is something I must tell you. I have fallen in love. His name is Tobias. He is a poor man from the market square. He has nothing, but his heart is full of kindness and love. I want to marry him." King Alaric froze in disbelief. "Isolde, he is penniless. You are a princess. You deserve someone of wealth and power. This cannot happen." His voice cracked with fury and heartbreak all at once. Isolde felt something inside her shatter, but she did not back down. Father, love was never about riches. It's about kindness, honesty, and understanding one another. Tobias is a good man. That is all that has ever mattered to me. The king refused to bend. I will not allow you to marry a beggar, he shouted. You are throwing away everything I built for you. Still, Isolde stood firm. I love him, father. If you cannot accept that, then I will leave this palace. I would rather live in a small home filled with love than in a golden palace empty of it. That very night, Isolde quietly packed her belongings and walked away from the only life she had ever known. She moved into Tobias's humble little home near the market, and together they began a new chapter. They had almost nothing in terms of money, but they had each other, and somehow that was enough. Weeks turned into months. Isolde and Tobias built a simple, joyful life together, spending their days helping others and finding beauty in life's smallest moments. They lacked riches, but they never lacked love. Meanwhile, something began to shift inside King Alaric. He watched from afar and saw that his daughter was genuinely happy, happier, perhaps, than she had ever been inside the palace walls. Slowly, he began to understand that love mattered more than any crown or coin, and that perhaps he had judged too harshly, too quickly. Months later, the king could no longer stay away. He traveled to see his daughter and the man she had chosen. When he arrived at their modest little home, he was stunned by what he found: genuine warmth, laughter, and a home overflowing with love, even without a single jewel in sight. I was wrong, King Alaric said softly, his eyes heavy with emotion. I see now that wealth and power are not what truly matter in life. Love and kindness are the real treasures. Please forgive me for not understanding this sooner. Tobias smiled gently and replied, Thank you, your majesty. I never needed your blessing. I only ever wanted Isolde to be happy. From that moment on, King Alaric welcomed Tobias into his family with open arms, finally understanding that his daughter had made the right choice all along. Isolde and Tobias spent the rest of their lives together, wrapped in love and kindness that never faded. And so, Princess Isolde and Tobias lived happily ever after, proving to everyone who ever doubted them that the greatest treasures in life are never found in gold or crowns, but in the quiet, powerful love that comes straight from the heart.